necesito más. Te crees mucho, lo sé. Obvio que te digo, sé. Pero hay más en Instagram. Si tú no quieres beber, tengo fila hasta 3. No te necesito más. Te crees mucho, lo sé. Obvio que te digo, sé. Pero hay más en Instagram. Te crees más de lo que eres, pero en el mundo lo que a mujeres más me la creía. Hasta ese día que me engañaste, ¿qué más?
Reciclaba amores y estabas tú. Te necesitaba, ya no fueron tantas flores.
You want it though? Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can't have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merge. 6 figures was a gold, now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve. No time for the snakes, time to put them in the dirt. That's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, out of nosebleeds. I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. They through the struggle, I can see another drought. Yeah, same circles to the same gang. We just get to it, we don't gangbang. Lost some friends to the same thing. Keep a low pro when we maintain. Find us in a loss somewhere, kicking back.
Hey guys, welcome to the 5Fs to Love Podcast Network. So you know it's Saturday, and you know what that means, honey. It's time to get your money right. You know, if you missed last week, we were talking about bad financial habits. That includes me too. Y'all know I'll be shopping, buying that stuff, but you know what? You need to think about what habits are attached to your emotional spending, and you need to start rectifying that because, honey, you need to start goal setting. I'm going to tell you while we were on break, and I shared this with you guys last week, that whole month that we were off, I used that one rule, 70-20-10. And I'm not going to even tell you how much money I saved. But the biggest thing is the tithes part, that 10%. When I wrote that check out for that first 10%, honey, even the person who was getting that money from me that Sunday, they looked at that check twice. It made me feel good about it. I'm just going to tell you right now, you all need to get your money right. And if you're not listening to the Finance Squad, then you're not listening and you don't want to get your money right. So let me bring it in. Santana, where you been at?
Man, it was tax season, so it's been extremely busy. Last week when I was out of town, I was unable to be here, but I'm excited. I mean, it's been a while since we've really had a chance to talk about financial habits and budgets and all that good stuff. So I look forward to tonight's podcast, and let's get at it.
You know what, Santana, I'm really excited. I was telling everybody for the podcast with the ladies, I said I had no idea what, playing cards, spades, and all of that was. I said, if you guys don't watch Saturday podcast, I went down for Santana's big celebration and I saw my first spades tournament, which was really exciting for me. I said, everybody assumes just because you're Black that you experienced all of this stuff. And I said, oh my God, I had so much fun. And I said, his event was absolutely top notch, and the thing is, Santana, just the celebration of you got me excited because it's a rare opportunity that you get the chance to meet somebody like you, who's a rock star in finance, who looks like me. So my thing is, I was just really excited to be there. Your friends, your family, the entire 3-day weekend was, the events were like back-to-back amazing. Nonstop amazing. And I had such a great time. So I want to thank you publicly for inviting me, having me come down and be a part of that. That was just an amazing experience.
And you're on the video. You start off the video. I'll send it to you when
You know what? Send me that video because I'm gonna post it. I think
Okay.
people they just don't even understand, how amazing you are as an individual. And I'm gonna tell you the lives that you transformed financially just blew my mind because people were so readily just ready to talk about it. And one thing that I learned from you is that when you build friendships, you build them for life. You
Right.
have friends all the way from elementary school.
Yes. Well,
Who
Mordecai is
knows
the
people?
one. Mordecai is the first one we met. I was walking to the city bus and he was walking home in the first grade. And we have been friends since the first grade.
See, that's amazing. When you brought up Mordecai, so I had to bring the beat in.
Yes.
Mordecai, I just want to say, you guys, I really appreciate you lending your expertise to our community. I think for a lot of people, it's 45 minutes, but it's a lifetime of change. And so to me, guys, you really need to tune in and pay attention. You guys know my notebook is always here. And I got my sticky notes. And I listen to you guys. I just want to thank you. Tonight, guys, Forrest is handling business with one of his clients, so he won't be here. But trust me, he left them with notes.
He ain't leave us with no notes. That Forrest listening, we don't need Forrest notes. Nah, that's our guy. It's just, man, we have such a good time having this conversation, and it's really out of love for our community and our people, because oftentimes finances is like this foreign world that is like it's way out here, and it's really it's not like that. But these are conversations that many of us, we long to just be in a room where people are just having a conversation about something that touches us in so many different places, and just like keeping it like real, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what I learned from Santana and Forrest, is that you can make this happen. You can make this happen.
You know what? What you just said made so much sense to me, because people don't understand what you guys say and do. It's going to impact the change. So listen, folks, I don't want to waste another second, because I need. By the way, I'm on the show, but I'm following directions. I just want to be clear. Y'all need to be following directions too. So the first question I'm going to ask you, just in case you guys missed last week, is what are bad financial habits? What do you guys see that as financial advisors or people who manage everybody's money? And Santana, you already know because you do people's taxes.
Just to start it off, I think one of the, and this is more from an accounting lens, one of the things bad financial habits is investing in things that do not, spending your money on items that do not hold their value.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to keep replacing it. So it's kind of an endless pit is putting your money in things. And we're going to talk more during the course of the night about, the good and bad goals, but, cars, countless times investing in cars. And I would think another bad financial habit is not paying yourself, because you'll end up feeling deflated. If you go enough years where your bank account is not commensurate to the efforts you put in day a week, you become feeling like you're in a hole that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
That's a real, so starting from day one or starting tomorrow, next paycheck, if it's $5-10, put that in a savings account where you can at least see that some money is being set aside that you're paying yourself.
And honestly, guys, I did that in the month that we were off. Up to this point, I'm already in double. I'm almost in triple digits. Because it was the savings. You said do the 10%, then I'm supposed to do the 20% in savings, and then 70% on bills, right? Like that 70% is what I'm using to pay bills and to go get me a little restaurant, little situation on a Friday, whatever I'm doing. But I got to live within that 70%. And I'm going to tell you that little 20%, I'm almost in triple. So I'm going to say thank you, because folks, I'm listening. So, Sean, Mordecai, you were here last week. So I need to know, like, we kind of touched on bad financial habits, but I know you got some sticklers because you really dug in on some people on some stuff last week.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, I think, one of the things is just not having a clear pathway of where you want to go in your life, right? You're working every day, you're getting up, and you're making your money. It's coming in on your check, direct deposit now. We don't even get it printed, right? And you spend it, and it's like you're on this gerbil, you're on this wheel, and you don't have a sense of like things can be better. I can change some things. And so what I see people do is they put their hand over their eyes and they just kind of move forward kind of blindly in their finances, wishing and hoping that things would get better. And so they'll invest in the lottery. They'll invest in Ponzi schemes. They'll like the mentality is I can get out without doing the hard work.
Right.
That's a very bad habit, is to think that somehow you're going to get out of the hole and somebody else do the work for you. Right. I had a friend that is, he's a really good cardiologist, and, 800 plus credit score. I mean, he basically told me that there was a time where he had a awful credit score. He couldn't get anything on credit. He was working at the hospital. He's putting pacemakers in, taking hearts out. And here he was like, it wasn't the fact that I wasn't making money. It was just, I didn't manage it. And here was his excuse. I'm always busy working. I don't have time to manage my money.
Wow. You know what? And that's one of the things that you guys told me, and that was my excuse, right? And that's not a good excuse. So I did learn how to manage, folks. And I will say this, that I do work for the city of Detroit in a major role. I also run 2 of my own businesses, and I do this podcast. And it's a lot, but I really had to sit down. And you know what I did first? I created that Excel spreadsheet like you guys told me to. And I start looking at what I was going on, and I was kind of surprised. It wasn't as bad as I thought, right? But I knew it could be better. And the first thing you guys said is pay off what you can and put together your payment plan within that 70%. And I did that. So I paid off 2 major bills. So y'all playing, and I got my double digits in my savings. So my little bad habits, I just want to say, y'all know I'm still shopping, though. We'll talk about that.
Oh, we're not gonna.
I'm gonna tell the truth. But I shop. I'm an emotional shopper, so we're gonna be clear that happens. So my next question, guys.
So you're retail therapy. You're a retail
therapy. Don't go out like that.
This is your therapy tonight.
Right. I'm on the sofa right now because y'all get my finance together. So my next question is, what is the potential negative impact bad financial habits can have on your life and your goals?
I'll start with that. So what is we're going to start from a very real perspective on that. Bad financial habits ultimately is going to lead to you having a very inadequate retirement. And that's when you're talking about this, we're really talking about, when you're talking about saving, positioning yourself, you're really preparing for that day that you wake up and say you don't want to do whatever you're doing anymore. And if you've exercised bad financial habits during the course of time before whatever your time horizon is, when you get to the end, it's going to be an end. So you can find yourself then working when you should be enjoying your life.
Yes.
And that is, and so it is a moment of reckoning that comes with your finances, much like your health or anything else, where you're going to have to see the consequences of your decisions. And so it isn't, and you don't think about that when you're working. I'll be honest, when I was 25, I was like, you don't know much about the market. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to really work or this. And you're looking at how much money you have coming in. You're saying, you always say, I have time. I have time to get ready for retirement. I have time. I have time. And normally as time elapses, your responsibilities increase because you're going to get married. You're going to have a family. You're going to want a better car. You're going to want a bigger house. And so if you would have started a lot earlier, you could have got a jump before the stress of life is added to you. So that the ultimate consequence is that when your body is tired or you just don't want to work anymore, you don't have the appropriate amount of money to sustain the lifestyle that you want or are accustomed to.
That's right. I had a client that took an early buyout and was just tired of working, and they offered this client it was only like a $250,000 buyout, and it was in an annuity. And I said, you're 55 years old. You're going to live a lot longer, theoretically. And honestly, that 250 it's just not enough to carry you to 80. And I mean, think about, you've got a long way to go. You got at least 2 more good decades, right? And the bad financial habits was and I want to speak to all of our spiritual, our over spiritual people, was that if I got faith, then faith gonna somehow work this out magically in the end. And I was like, faith don't function that way. You know what I'm saying? Faith functions right now that says, hey, I need to pull back, right, be a little bit more, conservative because I've got a longer journey ahead. So long story short, kept pulling money out, getting penalized on the taxes, pulling out of that annuity. And so by the time they were 63 years old, they had pulled out almost $200,000 over a 7-year period. Wow. Because they had never developed the notion to tell themselves no, or they had always told themselves no. And in this particular client was feeling like, this is my time to live. My time to live. Took out $200,000. Watch not. It created so much stress. They ended up having a heart attack. Wow. They needed a bypass surgery. Ended up affecting their kidneys. And this client passed away at 65 years old. Wow. Are you hearing what I'm saying? We talk about the ultimate. It takes your life, right? And so we're gonna talk about that after. I get emotional because this is real. Like, this is not numbers on a paper. This is our life. And so, that negative impact is not only not having enough for the end, but not having enough for right now. And so let's talk about that when we come back from the commercial break.
I love that, guys. If you haven't take note. Anything you make, any decisions you make right now can impact you long term and also can impact your health. And guess what? They're going to dig in on your bad habits when we get back from this quick commercial break.
Look at me, I'm on. 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 Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going. Can't stop, keep going.
Yeah. Bag, I'm racing the clock. Look at him block, watching him flop. Used to see this in my sleep. When I ain't had shit on my thoughts in the car, I really was lost. Now I'm public with the soundscapes. Niggas floss, I'm really pulling strings for the pound cake. I see you went for a puppet in the clown face for a little wage. That shit, the talk of the town is late. Still me, I never switch sides, came along.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Loving how you wind up for me. Tonight is all on me. Mash up the place for me. Yeah. She just wanna highlight. Ooh, that body talk to me. I need a taste, baby. Loving the way you move around me. No more delay. No, you can't wait to shut it down. Won't you show me how you work it? I can't find no flaws, you perfect. Cause every time that you come around my way, I keep falling again. I keep falling again. And every time that you come across my mind, I keep falling
down. This shouldn't be us. What came between us? When did we become like them? We weren't supposed to break up, but it's too late to make up. Don't know if my heart will mend. No, this should
guys, welcome back. It is Saturday, so you know who it is. It's the finance guy. Which is finance squad? You know it's Mordecai and Santana. You're probably thinking, where is Forrest? Y'all know I call him the preacher. Well, Forrest is on a financial emergency. Y'all probably thinking only doctors have emergencies. No, they don't. When stuff happens, folks, on a big scale, your finance guy has to show up and take care of you. So that's where Forrest is. But you know he the boss of everybody. We're gonna be clear, Forrest is the boss of everybody. We just be doing what Forrest tell us to do pretty much now. But when they have it, Sean and Santana have it. I'm not even confused about this at all. So folks, when we left off, we were talking about bad financial habits and how they can impact your health, right? So one of the things that we're going to talk about, we talked about it last week when Mordecai and Forrest hit on, doing what you like, doing what you love, right? So I need you guys to give more clarity because I know some people are just tuning in tonight and they're hearing this for the first time. But you know what, Mordecai, your perspective is definitely going to be different than Santana's because he does taxes. And he's going to be like, you can do what you love, but if you ain't making no money on it, though, you're going to have to keep that real job till you start making that cheddar. So you guys, if you can kind of, talk to us about that, that whole love and doing what you want to do.
Well, I wanna speak on this from a almost a personal lens. Now being an entrepreneur for 20 years, almost 25 years, I've found that it's necessary that you have a passion about what you do. And this, Mordecai and Christine, this is why I say this. If you decide to be an entrepreneur, there is going to be a period on an average 2 to 3 years where it's going to be tough. It's for all of the people that are listening today. If you try to go to entrepreneur track, there are going to be some very periods of scarcity, period where you're doubting yourself, where you feel crazy. And the thing is going to wake you up is that you love what you do.
We love it.
And so most wealthy people, if you go back to the beginning of the story, it was rough. What keeps waking you up each morning is that you love what you do. Mm-hmm. I mean, Christine, come on. You know that you love what you do. I do. Some days you're tired. This is 6 days a week. So, and I'm learning this. It's even though they both start with the letter E, it's a difference. And what did you say? Well, Santana, what did you say? There's a difference between being an employee and an entrepreneur.
It is.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs love what they do. Mm-hmm. Employees do what they have to do. Yes. So, and then and entrepreneurs work from a bigger dream, a bigger calling, and employees normally work from scarcity. Mm-hmm. I need a check. Mm-hmm. So this love thing is what pushes you from being maybe just being rich. You might have a job that you make $250 a year and you're happy. But that person that loves goes to the wealth place because they're going to break into frontiers that the person that's happy being an employee and getting a check tops out at. Mm-hmm. I mean, employees work 8 hours, maybe 9. Entrepreneurs work all night long.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the difference because not work.
What we're talking about ultimately in these last 2 sessions is about what gets you wealthy. Yeah. And what gets you wealthy is an insatiable desire to solve a problem.
Come on.
Well, say that again, Santana.
An insatiable desire to solve a problem.
Yes.
What in the earth has been created that only you can solve? And not only do you know the problem, you have a passion to be the creator of the solution to the problem.
That's right.
So this is something that I've had to live. I mean, I started my business and I assumed that it was an issue with professional athletes retaining their finances. And I was foolish enough to believe in my late 20s that I could solve the problem. I foolish because at that time all I had was book knowledge. but I had a passion to go at the problem. And sometimes it's a true vision you don't even solve in your lifetime.
Mhm.
Right.
So the vision was big enough, the problem was big enough that even 20 years later, I'm trying to resolve it or eradicate it.
Yeah.
And so this is something, when I saw that topic of love versus like, it just jumped in me. Like, this is my talk here. This is 20 years on the other side. How do you keep waking up
Every day.
later? It's
Every
because
day.
you love it and you don't like it.
It was causing me to think about, I called Santana. I was about 30 years old, and I was doing really well in corporate America, but I was not pursuing the thing that I was super passionate about. I became so impassionate about my job until I started to feel a certain kind of way about my check because I wasn't really winning, right? And so at 30 years old, I started a nonprofit. And
Wow.
I remember my boss telling me, Sean, if this problem that you're trying to solve, if this thing don't work out, you can always come back. I remember him telling me that. And we were riding down, whatever highway. And I thought, okay, well, I'll keep that in my back pocket. And it's been 19 years and I've not looked back. And the thing is that when you don't like something that you're doing, 96% of the poor, the studies show they don't like what they're doing. There's an energy. You're not putting yourself into it.
Right.
You're not bringing your all of your creativity. There's a portion of you that's dying. And so wealth is attracted to not just passion, but calling.
Yes.
And so wealth is it's not money. It's not just money. It's about the social capital. It's about who you are. You get up in the morning, I'm free. Like, we don't want to talk about the price of doing how you feel when you wake up, you doing what you want to do. And if I'm making $10, at least I know why I'm making $10.
Exactly.
Because I'm doing what I want to do.
Right.
And this is not where I'm going to stay. So I think, one of the things is that immediately I went from a state of like depression and complaining to I started dreaming, strategizing, planning. Things mattered. Money mattered. Oh, we can't spend that. We can't do that because guess what? We have a vision now. I love what I'm doing. And all of a sudden, there were other gifts, there were other talents that I had never used. And I discovered them in that process of letting the employee mind go and stepping out into the unknown. And what I found was when you pursue what you love and that calling deep on the inside, there is a level of living that is released to you and you don't go back.
You know what, Mordecai, I think that liberation in what you do is great. And that's why we're going to talk about the difference real quick, folks, about set goals and bad goals. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur, you've got to set some goals for growth for your company. But not only that, you got to set financial goals. And a lot of times you have to look for investors in order to meet those financial goals or figure out how to do quick wins within your company. But when you work for a company, it's still quick wins, but it's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know for sure, like, I don't get bonuses. There is no bonus structure.
You the bonus.
Christine does a quick win for the city of Detroit versus if I do a quick win for my company, I get a bonus for that. And the thing is, my work ethics that I have because of who I am, it carries over into that. And trust and believe, the role that I'm in, I'm doing it, but it also impacts my IT company. You know what I mean? I didn't take a role that wasn't associated with my IT company because it's in digital equity and my company is in digital equity.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I did it, because it gives me a larger platform. So that's my payoff. My bonus is it gives my company and me, my personal brand, a larger platform now, because I'm in a space where people are like, what's next for the city? And it's all on this woman, right? Which means if she can handle the city, she can handle my company's business with her company. So that's the reason why I did it. But can you guys talk about setting goals and then versus bad goals?
Well, before we go there, I wanna chime in on something that I want to tell the listeners on tonight. One of the limiting factors with being an employee is that it's a structure you have to get promoted in.
Mm-hmm.
When if you have a calling, and everybody does, there's some people designed to be in corporate America and impact that culture. But if you're called to be an entrepreneur, every day you wake up can be your best day. You can get a contract, Christine, you can get a contract tomorrow out of nowhere that changes your entire bloodline.
Yeah.
You know, you're one moment away.
Word.
Well, one moment away, one morning away from life changing forever. And I think that is what pushes you when you have an entrepreneur or really want to be in a wealth place, is that once you free yourself from the parameters of a job or 9 to 5, then there's no limit to how the opportunities can come.
That's good. That's
And
good.
so
You know,
we'll go on break with that, but I just wanted the audience or the listeners to understand that once you free yourself from the 9 to 5, then you now command the hands of God to drop opportunities out of nowhere.
that's good.
What does we have a preach Mordecai? What it says? Promotions don't come from the east or the west,
Above.
but above.
On that note, we go on a quick commercial break. Hey guys, welcome back to the Finance Squad. And you know it's Saturday because it's Santana Mordecai. So if you want to get your finances right, you better get them bad financial habits out of the way. If you guys missed, before we went on break, they still want you to complete your financial budget. So please click the link, complete your budget so you can start having conversations. If you want to reach out to Santana, Mordecai, or Forrest outside of the podcast, you guys know what you need to do. Kick me that DM and I will connect the dots for you so you can connect with them and get your money right. So before we go into the next question, Mordecai, I do want to hear from you when you talk about, again, honey, you've done some phenomenal things. And I don't think people even understand that. Like do people know you're a minister?
I don't know. I don't, we don't talk about our own.
Do people know you're a jazz musician? Do they know that about you? I mean, it's in the promo.
Yeah.
Right? Do they know you just cut, an album and it's what's going on? They don't know all that?
They don't know.
You're like a Jamaican. You got some jobs. You got some real jobs outside of being this finance guy.
Maybe he'll close us out one Saturday.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe he'll close us out one Saturday night.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? I'll give you the rights to play the music. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you're gonna give me the rights to play us out.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll give you the rights to play it.
Mordecai, honestly, I would love to be able to promote your album out here so that people know where to get it. because I think you're a phenomenal artist. Outside of what you do on this podcast, I just want to say thank you. I'm just sharing some tidbits y'all may not know about this man. You know, and if you
That's
here in
funny.
Michigan, you can hear him play during the summer at a lot of the outdoor events that's happening. We will keep you abreast of that. Okay. And if you want to see
Absolutely.
Santana, you got to get on a plane and go to Florida. Stop playing.
Or click into a Zoom call.
Or click into a Zoom, right? But he
Yeah.
not playing no music, but he playing you on how to get your money right, though. That's
Yes,
what he
ma'am.
doing.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that's the thing that is so remarkable, because there's not just one road to the wealthy you, right? You know, we all have a poor us but there's a wealthy us that we're created for. And I
Mhm.
think Santana and I grew up side by side, but we had two vastly different paths. And I think one of the things that's a bad habit is comparing your path to someone else. So
Oh
you'll
my
go listen to
gosh, thank
someone and
you.
they'll be like, "Oh, I did this, I did this, I did this, I went to this conference and I paid for these books." And then everybody rush over there and do that. But what is your path, right? So we talked about that some people's path to wealth is they're just very good.
Mm,
They're very good organizers, and they save and they take the investor path. There are others who, as Santana said, their path is they're great at
great.
corporate structure. Some people thrive within that structure.
They
You know,
do.
I work for people and they would get on my nerves. I'm like, why do you care so much, right? Because I was called for another
Mhm.
path. They want to be in
Right.
every pre-meeting, every Zoom meeting. They got the notes, they got everything organized, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Let's just go out and just do it. So, what's the path that works for you? You know, that big company? Are you the one that climbs the corporate ladder? There's nothing wrong with that. Are you the virtuoso, the one that like a Six Sigma, you solve problems, you help, you're a strategic thinker, and so you might be a consultant, right? And like Santana said, a contract could change your whole life. Or you
Mhm.
might be that dreamer and that entrepreneur. And so I think people choose a path that they think will get them to their destination with the least work. And as Santana said, you know, the trial, like, well, I don't want to go that way, I'll just go this way. Choose the path that's right for you. I went nonprofit. Santana went into, you know, finance and accounting. I knew that wasn't my path. We at the same college. I'm doing political science, I'm doing constitutional law, I'm doing equity, I'm doing justice. He doing the same thing, he just doing it on the other side of the college.
Great.
And so we just got to like pause and come into ourselves and say, what's the one fundamental two things that I'm absolutely amazing at? That when I get feedback from people, they say, this is your thing. Every time you do this, it gives me goosebumps. And so my mother taught me, to whom much is
That.
given, much is required. So if I'm a
Mhm.
musician, how do I express that in my music? If I'm a public speaker, if I'm a minister, how do I express that? And so it's not work to us, it's a calling,
Mhm.
right? And so we say it's not a must to, it's a get to. We get to
I like
do this.
that.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a must to or a
Mhm.
have to, it's a I get to do this. That's the attitude. So, you know, when we talk about a good goal, it really is about finding your path and pursuing that and letting that thing just open up for you. And so, you know, I could look at Santana and be like, man, he took, you know, but that's not my path. I'm not good at that. I'm
And
not
I
good at
like
what
that you
Santana.
said that. See, Mordecai, I think a lot of times people do that. And one of the things is they compare their lives. But one of the very important things, folks, while you're looking at living somebody else's life and comparing your life, are you living within your means? Right? So if you guys can explain what does that mean to live, how does someone make living below your means a daily habit? Because that's one of the things you guys are saying is a bad habit. But how do they make it so, when we talk about that and when you give your answer at the same time, I want you guys to give us an example of what that looks like for the average person.
Well, it's funny. I think about dating myself. About 15 years ago, I came up with this financial presentation called "What About the 90%?" And one of
Mhm.
the things that I said was a deterrent for managing the 90% is that you're living below your creative ability.
Oh.
And I said you can potentially be frustrated the rest of your life because God has called you to be a doctor, but you didn't have the fortitude, so you're working at Waffle House. Do you know? I mean, there are so many people that are so intelligent that just don't have the mental fortitude to press to be what they've been called to be. And so, you know, the old people used to say every round goes higher and higher. I used to hear all that. And I started realizing that every round does go higher and higher in terms. You'll have at each phase of your life people that just quit at that phase.
Yeah.
You'll leave high school, you'll know some smart people, and they'll just stop. And you'll come back, you'll still see them in the same place. You get to college, college is difficult, college presses you, and so you'll have some people say, well, I'm just going to stay here in town and get a job.
Yeah.
You'll then go to your corporate, or you'll be divided. Then you'll get to the job, and then you'll have friends say, man, I'm just going to get married. I don't want to do all that. I'm just going to live my life. I don't want all that stress. They'll top out. And so you can consider, you look at people just keep climbing, while at every level, you're going to have friends, family, and foes that'll top out at certain levels.
Yeah.
The frustration is that once they top out, they begin to envy or hate the one they kept pursuing.
Wow.
And this is the dynamic about life that is tough, is that you will get blamed because you didn't stop.
Wow.
You didn't. So the most devastating bad habit that impacts your finances is the unwillingness to push to be all you can do. Because in the pushing comes the prosperity.
Yeah.
And I mean, now at 50 years old, I've had to watch friends top out at different levels.
Yes. They top
Look,
out.
Mordecai, we can just end the show right now on top out.
It. Yeah. That top and tap out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Top and tap.
Yeah, and it's a conscious decision. Like, man, college is not for me. Now, in our age, college was everything. You had to go to college, your grandparents, your parents. But now you don't have to go to college, but you have to exude or exercise the potential that's in you. So you could be an influencer. Right. They're influenced. They're taking social media. I mean, social media is making millionaires by the day. I mean, they're just guy or girl gets an idea, is bold enough to put themselves out there on a social media platform, and they explode. Well, even in that same context, you got one friend that says, girl, I don't want to do that, or boy, I'm not doing that. And you got another friend that says, man, I'm going for it. So one goes for it, and one taps or tops out. And then you see your friend become a millionaire, now you're envying them. It was the willingness to pursuit of the next level.
Santana, I kind of see life like a highway system. And I think this keeps us humble because, there are entrances and exits. And I can't be mad when a person chooses to exit the journey. I'm going to California, you're going to Chicago. So you're going to get off earlier. And I think we need to attach this to people's calling. Some people's calling was in Chicago. My calling is in California. So the reason why I didn't tap out, and this is just the other side of the coin, is because my destiny is further. My destination was further. It requires a little bit longer for me to stay in the game. And so that's the reason why we're saying that, like, a bad goal creates a short-term happiness, but no long-term fruitfulness or benefit. And so we got to be thinking about, flipping that, where like a good goal in the short term was what Santana is saying. In the short term, you tap out because it's not comfortable. You understand? And so, we got to think about a good goal as a goal that in the short term, it absolutely feels like you made the wrong decision. But the long-term benefits create a legacy. And so, you know, we have to just really pause and really think about our calling. You know, I've had people say to me, I don't know how you continued. And it's because my calling required me. I wanted to quit. Watch this. I called Santana up. Santana telling me about the deals he closing. He got this going on. He got this going on. I'm over here working in the nonprofit sector. And so that's a whole nother structure.
It's different wins. It's different kind of wins.
Like, man, I made the dumbest decision to come over here and suffer over here and do this dumb work over here when all I gotta do is call my boy and get a job.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so sometimes we tap out because we get discouraged with the journey that we're called to. And we gotta stay committed until we see some long-term benefits. And you know, we can talk about some other things, but I do want to make mention of one bad habit that I see a lot is we have that passion, we got that calling, but we suffer silently because we were taught in our culture, don't say nothing when you don't know nothing.
Right.
And so you're not saying nothing and you don't know nothing, which means you'll never get better. So you got to pick up the phone and you got to call somebody who is an expert in finances to say, look, so I'll give you an example. We took the 10-20-70 rule and we worked with a young, single African-American male, master's degree, and was just really crushed under the weight of his debt. When we sat down with the spreadsheet and organized all of his income, all of his debt, all his dreams, we found he was only 6 months away from being debt-free.
Wow.
He was only 6 months. And if he could bring in an extra $200 a month, he could come out in 4 months. Like he was, I was like, bro, you right here. Like you really don't have no reason to be depressed. You only 6 months away from being totally debt-free. And so it was him reaching out and saying, I'm suffering silently and I'm tired of losing behind the scenes. Folks got to click the link. Got to call Santana, get Forrest on the line. And I'm telling you, your prosperity is in your reach out. That's sometimes why the Santana, you can attest to this. Sometimes we tap out because we didn't manage the money that was designed to take us a certain leg of the way. So we tap out because we ain't got no more resources.
And folks, those are called bad habits. And that's what we're talking about right now. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And hopefully, while we're on break, you're going to be looking at your bad habits in your destination. I think Mordecai said it a few times. And the other thing is, could you please stop getting mad at your friend because they got a different destination than you do? Because what they didn't do, top out and tap out. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
What's up with it? Do it cause I love it and I stuck with it. We ain't with the subbing in the cut with it. Please none of the talks, I heard enough of it. Like, what you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lies all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, sink ships, red cup, blue strips, new phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Really on go, I don't know what's an off day. Now we on road, came from smoking in the hallway. Now we got shows, boys feeling like Broadway. Always look both ways, even on a crossway. Driving down Cross Bay, out town Barclays. Really on big things, came up a small way. Championship rings, baby, that's a ball game. Oh, she want a little bag, baby, that's small change. Yeah, that money talk. If we ain't cool, then cut me off. No breaking news, don't run your mouth. Thought it was the plug, now he running off. Thought it was a plug, now he running off. What you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't.
guys, we're back, and yep, it's the finance squad. You know when you see Mordecai, and you know when you see Santana. Forrest is on a financial emergency with a client. Y'all know what's going down. I hope y'all got y'all notebooks. And if you're just joining us right now, guys, one thing, this is pre-recorded. Two things, you can rewatch it as many times as you need to on YouTube. And number 3 thing, get your notebook and stop playing. Which y'all start with getting click that Excel spreadsheet right now. Get your budget together. Start getting your budget together. Number 1. Number 2, then go through the 70-20-10. Y'all know y'all need to go back and watch that. That would be episodes 2, 3, and 4. Stop playing. How do I know that? Because I produce the shows. What's up? Y'all need to go check that out and stop playing. Okay, so listen. We're going to do this whole thing because I'm going to tell y'all, what does don't gamble mean? What does that mean?
Well, this is a real, in my profession, this is seen often. And what I see don't gamble mean is, okay, you had bad. So it's a buildup. You had bad financial habits.
Okay.
You're getting close to whatever appointed time is, whether it's a goal you set, whether it's retirement. And now you're like, you don't have what you need. So you begin to look for bigger returns.
Like quick wins?
Quick wins.
Okay.
So don't gamble mean don't get impatient, don't get nervous, and then lose what you do have.
Oh.
Come on.
Because you're trying to get what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to put yourself in a position where you begin to take risks because you're anxious that you're getting anxiety that you're not getting to your expected designated place. You're nervous, and it happens all the time.
Okay.
I mean, pretty much, if you want to retire at 60 and you're 50, and you have 10 years from your time horizon, and you're looking at the money saved, you may take more aggressive investment strategy
to try to hit that goal.
Right. You may get in some stuff that you're not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to be working past 60. So now I'm, and with the instability of the economy and the market, you can mess around and look. If you have 200 and you were trying to get to 400, you may end up back at 50 in 10 years. Because you got too aggressive.
So do you think, Santana, this is people trying to do it on their own and not working with people like you, Forrest, and Mordecai? Because when Mordecai sat down with that guy, he was only $200 shy from closing out his debt, but he didn't have a brilliant person like you guys to tell him that.
But sometimes the brilliant person tells you the truth. Okay. And the truth is, where you want to be, time is not enough time. And if you don't want to hear that, if you don't want to hear that, I mean, it's like a preacher saying, hey, the life you've lived, there are consequences. Now, yes, you can be brought into heaven, but you've done this, and this. It's just consequences with it. And that's the reality. Like I said at the beginning of the show, is your finances gives the toughest final curtain call than anything, because when your body and your mind and your finances are in two different places, it's an irreconcilable difference. Yeah. It's an irreconcilable difference.
Santana, Mordecai said that with the person who got $250,000 buyout, and they didn't spend up $200,000 of it in 7 years.
No. I'm looking for the young crowd to say this too. That I hope, that I pray, that I wish that your know right and your do right intersects before it's too late.
What Santana said? You know right.
And your do right.
And your do right. That's South right there.
Little Southern stuff that you be throwing in. That's Southern stuff.
From the South. That's South.
Yes. When your know right and your do right, I pray it intersects.
Oh my gosh. You know what, guys? Let me tell you something. Christine is dipping off because these last 5 minutes is for these financial gurus. They're going to leave you guys with some homework, and y'all better listen. And you all need to make sure you go in, click and do your budget. Go back and look at how you can get your 7-20-10 together. Rewatch this from the beginning. I listened to those guys, and I was shocked at what I needed to do. And they're helping me while they're helping you. So, guys, I'll see you guys next Saturday with the Finance Squad, because you know what? You got to get your money right. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next week, and you can close it out. Again, folks, thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Well,
Yeah,
Sean, I
Santana,
want to start this
Yeah.
off because we're having these last two sessions because we talked about budget, and sometimes we felt we left the listeners feeling hopeless. And so what we wanted to do during these first sessions is to have you go back and look at the top part of your budget, the income. You know, maybe you have more bills than you have money. And so we wanted to come back and give you hope. You know, we didn't want the listeners to feel as though that this budget thing can't happen. I don't have the adequate resources to just survive. We want you to understand that there is something in you that can be used to totally change the landscape of your budget. We wanted to let you really deal with the fact that it may be some bad habits that you're exercising. You may be investing in depreciable assets, your short-term things that have no long-term benefit to your financial situation. And so we want you to really look at and challenge yourself internally on how is your behavior, how are the habits that you're exercising helping you with what the long-term goals are. And long-term goals is not just retirement. It may be some things you may want to be a business owner one day. And so your long-term goal is to have adequate money to maybe pay your bills and invest in what your dream is. But today you have to address those things that will hinder you from achieving that. So, Mordecai, I want to pass it on so you can talk about the assignment and close us out on anything else you may want to say.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we want to just challenge people on and just really think about is really knowing the difference between being frugal and being cheap. And oftentimes, you know, we expect good to come from something bad. When you talk about being cheap, you buy the lowest quality at the lowest price, and then you have an expectation you're going to get high results. And so I think we need to be more frugal, which means that when we do spend money, we spend it wisely. You know, it's like seeking the highest quality at the lowest price, which requires some patience, some homework, some investigation, some negotiating, right? And so I want you to just really think about one of the things is, where are you just cheap and where are you frugal, right? It's not like a negative assignment. Where are you frugal and where are you cheap? And so the question is, what are the underlying beliefs that drive your actions? What are the underlying beliefs that drive your actions that make you have bad decisions, so to speak? So you go to a jewelry place and you go to K Jewelers or wherever, and the first thing they say is, you deserve this ring. Why? Right? What's the belief? The belief system is that somehow there's something about you that is so important that you can put yourself in debt and buy a $3,000 diamond ring that's not worth, probably $800, right? And so what are the underlying beliefs that drive your actions? So our homework is, number one, let's get the budget. Click the link, do the 10-20-70 rule budget, do your own budget. And secondly, what is the calling on your life? What is that thing that you feel deep down inside that your employer will not sign off on? You're not going to have the time to do it. And then third, we want you to really look at those underlying beliefs that drive actions. And we're going to talk about how we change those actions by really challenging what you believe. And so look forward to seeing everybody on the next show with the Finance Squad, and we'll see you next week.